everybody, AJ Ryzik here, video number 3 in our Intro to Linux series. Today what we are going to do is get our Xubuntu 14.04 installation up and running so we can get something done on this computer. Now video number 1 we did the installation of our operating system. Video number 2 I gave a quick tour of the Xubuntu 14.04 desktop, the applications, all that kind of stuff. And today we're going to get things up and running so that you can start actually using your computer. I mean, it's not going to do you any good just sitting there on the desk. We got to get some work out of this thing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is do a complete system update, and what that is, okay. Ubuntu 14.04, it was released, I forget what date it was, whatnot. So that ISO that we downloaded so that we could install the operating system on our computer, well, it's been sitting out there on the internet ever since then. And since that, in that time period, there's been security updates. Maybe they found some bugs and came up with a fix for it. And those kind of updates that have come down the pike. So what we're going to do is do a complete system update so that everything's fresh and new, got the latest and greatest of the software that's available for Xubuntu 14.04. So let's go and do that. And now actually after you first install your desktop and you do a reboot, you will probably have a pop-up window that pops up that says, system updates available. Do you want to install those? Go ahead and do that, if you want to. But I'll show you how to do it manually as well. Anyway, so open up your menu, and we're going to pull up our settings manager. You can do like I did. Just start typing in settings and it'll pop up, or you can scroll through the menu, whatever fits your fancy. I'm a keyboard guy, so I like doing it that way. But anyway, so you got your settings manager, and you want to come down here to where it says software updater. Click on that, and now the updater will check for updates for your system. And it usually takes it a minute or so to go through all the repositories out there, see what see if things are up to date and whatnot. Now in my case, I had to update right after I did my installation, just because of the screen recorder that I added. It wasn't going to work with some of the outdated packages that got downloaded with the ISO. So I kind of had to do it, but this way you can see the whole process of what you would do. If there was excuse me, if there was updated software, it would have a message that would say something like, so and so many megabytes of updates are available. It'll give you the option to install then or install later. Go ahead and do it. Boom, you're done. Time to rock on to other things. Now also, while we're looking at this, let me show you, see where it says software and updates here. Okay, it shows you all of the software, all the sources that you are getting your software from. And you'll understand this later on, but not just Xubuntu, but other Linux distributions work with what is called repositories and packages. What you have listed here are the various repositories where you're downloading your updates and software and whatnot. All right, so we've got our system updated. Let's go and add some software. Now we'll just go down here to the Ubuntu Software Center, pull that up. And first thing I want to do is we're going to add some internet browsers. So click on the internet icon, see where it says web browsers. Now, by default, Firefox is the web browser, and whether you like Firefox or you don't like it, I always recommend having at least two different internet browsers on your computer, and that's not just for a Linux system. Same thing with Windows, and the reason is that you may find a website that you try to open it with Firefox and it does not render correctly. It crashes or something like that. You go and use Chrome and it's perfectly fine, or vice versa. It wow, I can't talk. It just happens. So Chromium right here, and here we'll just kind of read it verbatim. Chromium is an open source browser project that aims to build a safer, faster, more stable way for all internet users to experience the web. Basically, Chromium is what Google Chrome is built on top of. The people at Google, they add a few things and tweaks and whatnot to Chromium, and voila, you've got Chrome. This is a good browser to have. If you are going to use Chromium, I highly suggest, see down here where it says optional add-ons, highly suggest getting the Pepper Flash player, that add-on. That will allow you to view websites that need Flash player. So I definitely recommend doing that add-on, that optional add-on. So after you click on that add-on, go up here to install, and it'll ask you for your password, and boom, you let it install. Really simple. Now, you can go, while that is progressing, go and add more software to the system, while that's running, and it'll just keep putting it into a queue, and it'll go, next piece of software to download, next one, next one, next one, so on and so forth. I will tell you though that the software center, if you get a bunch of packages that are waiting to be uploaded, it tends to bog down. So I usually let one completely upload and install and all that before I do another. But while it's doing its thing, there's no reason that you can't go and browse around on the software center. And also, if you want to look at see the progress there, you can watch that if you like. And while that's doing that, I'm going to show you something that I installed when I first first installed our operating system here. And it's called Synaptic Package Manager. And basically Synaptic, all of the stuff that I complain about the software center, about it being slow, laggy, can't install a bunch of things at the same time and whatnot, Synaptic allows you to do that and not have the lags and whatnot. You can pick 500 different pieces of software to install, and it will install them all and not crash, and no problems whatsoever. At least I've never had any problems with it. The downside, if you want to call it that, is here's a screenshot of Synaptic. You do not have the nice graphical interface like you do with uh, the software center. Probably after you've been using um, Ubuntu and Xubuntu and all those for some time, that's probably not going to be a big deal to you because you know what the different packages are. Um, At first, though, I think that the Software Center is a good thing for you to be using just so that you can look at. There's probably a lot of software that you're not familiar with. You can look at the reviews and those sort of things. But after you get a little more experience with the Linux desktop, you'll see that something like Synaptic, very nice piece of software to work with when it comes to loading up your software and finding updates and all that kind of stuff. Um, so anyway, I showed you how to add software with the Software Center. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with Synaptic. Of course, you would need to add Synaptic first. So if you haven't added it, you could do it from here. This would say install instead of remove. Um, Let me close up the Software Center here so you can see Synaptic now. And Synaptic asks for a password up front when you first log it on and all that. Um, so we'll add some software through here now, just so you can see how it's done here, and you'll see the advantage of Synaptic. Okay, if you look at the software that we have under Office, we have a document viewer, we have Abby Word, Dictionary, Gnumeric. We don't have a real Office suite as such. Abby Word is a yeah, not a spreadsheet program. It is a word processor. Gnumeric is a spreadsheet program. If you need an entire Office suite, let's say that you'd like to install LibreOffice, probably one of the most commonly used Office suites out there. Well, let's type in LibreOffice. Now, right there, you see where it says the Office Productivity Suite Meta Package. If you click on that, you can see, this will give you the entire package, okay? The writer, the calculator, the presentation program, draw, base, math, all that kind of stuff. And there's extra packages that you can add. Now, some of these would have shown up maybe as options if we had tried installing this through the Software Center, but not all of them. I mean, you can look at all of these different options that are, extensions, I guess you could say, that you can go and add via Synaptic that just would not have shown up through the Software Center. So this is one of the things that I like about Synaptic. So click on there and click Mark for installation, and it'll list any additional packages or changes to current packages that need to be made. As you can see, it says chosen action also affects other packages. The following changes are required in order to proceed. And it installs anything that's needed so that piece of software will work. So we'll go and mark all that. Now, along with Libre, with that, I want to be able to add all of the icons that are available for LibreOffice. And I think instead of icons, they call them symbols. Style. So you can see all of these different icon sets. Um, I would not have been able to add those if I used I'd use a software center. So let's go and add all those. Now you can do a we'll click on that one right there and scroll down to here and do the shift and click, and that'll select all of those, and we're going to mark all of those for installation. All right. Yeah. Okay, so all that stuff's marked for installation. So we're going to apply those, and I'll show you 5 packages. Okay, all gives you all the details right there. Boom, click apply, and it does its thing. Okay, so we are completely done with the installation. As you can see, it says change applied, successfully applied all changes, blah blah blah. Close that up, and it'll take it a second to reload the software list and whatnot. Now, the nice thing about Synaptic is besides uploading and downloading software, you can also go and upgrade your system through that. In that, you know how we went through the software updater earlier in the video? Well, you can also do that through Synaptic. It's built in. You can just click this mark all possible upgrades. Click that. It'll tell you everything that needs to be upgraded. Click on mark, and then you would apply that. So it'll show you, as you can just see, all the stuff that I just marked to upgrade. And now here's the cool thing is that maybe you don't want there's something on here that you don't want to upgrade. So you can deselect it from upgrading. Um, so I mean that's kind of a useful tool. Probably not something that you'll use much as a beginning Linux user, but for the more advanced users, it's a nice feature out there. So anyway, we'll go and apply those. Click apply. Boom. Give it a minute to do its thing, and then we'll be ready to go and move on to the next thing. Wow, that was pretty quick. Okay, close that down. I'm just going to close all this. Okay, so we looked at how to install software using the Software Center, and then we use Synaptic. Now, there are times when you can go and download directly from the internet a specific program, upload it, and do an install sort of automatically. All the Ubuntu derivatives use what are referred to as Debian packages because it's based on the Debian, I guess you call code base. Let's go and we'll pull up, and if you look under Internet, you see we now have Chromium web browser. And since it's the first time that we logged it on, it might take it a minute or so to open up. There we go. Another really nice browser, one that I personally like, is Opera. So let's install Opera. Now when you go to the Opera website, it automatically detects that you are on a Linux system. If you just click on the download, give it a second, wait for it. Okay, select distribution and vendor. Yes, this is for Ubuntu. And basically any Ubuntu derivative, you're going to select Ubuntu. Choose package format, Debian. That's what we want. And click to download. And as you see, it'll tell you this type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to keep it? Yes, we want to keep it. And once it is downloaded, click on it. And what will happen is the Ubuntu Software Center will automatically open it. Oh, I forgot, I'm running the 32-bit version. I just downloaded the 64-bit. What's up with that? Let's try this again. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's choosing 64-bit on me. Yeah, you would want, see where it says i386, that's a 32-bit, which is what I'm running here. We get the latest version. Ubuntu, Debian package, download. I've seen that before, and it's something you want to keep an eye on. I wish I'd noticed it up front, but at least you get to learn from my mistake. Make sure that if you're on 64-bit that you're getting the 64-bit. If you're on 32-bit, get the 32-bit. So once again, Ubuntu Software Center will open it. And just click the install button like before. And I've noticed this on when I've downloaded Debian packages. You'll click the install on the button, and then a second later the install button seems to pop up again. I was just wait, and yeah, there's that. The request for your password. Click on authenticate, and it will do its installation. Anyway, I can close up this web browser while it's doing its thing. So anyway, now it'll install, download and install Opera for us, and we'll have another web browser. So basically, long story short, anything that is a Debian file you can install. Just click it and it'll go to the Software Center. Boom, install that way. Alright, so Opera's installed. So now you've seen how to install Software Center, how to install with a Debian file, which sort of uses the Software Center anyway, and then also its Synaptic Package Manager. Let me close that up there. Okay, there is one other way to install software, and I'm not going to go over it in this video. We're going to look at it later, and that is installing software via the terminal. And the reason is I'm going to do a complete video on working in the terminal, and I'm going to cover it at that point. But while we're talking about the terminal, I like, since you occasionally use the terminal in your Linux systems, there is a program that you can add that'll basically drop a terminal down from the top of the screen. It'll basically scroll down, and you hit the F12 button to either bring it down or bring it back up. So I'm going to install that right now, and then show you how I kind of tweak it up so that it works the way that I want. And we'll look at it through Synaptic. So let me type Synaptic password. And it is called Quake. And there it is, drop down terminal for GNOME desktop environment. Mark for installation, mark it, and apply. Yeah. Now, with Quake, it is a program that I wanted to start every time I turn on the computer. I want it to start up. Yeah, to start up at startup, if if that makes sense to you. Um, but on Xubuntu, it doesn't do that by default. You're going to have to set that. So I'm going to show you how to set that right now. Just go into your system settings. And where is it? We are looking for session and startup. There it is. Application auto start. We're going to add an application to this, and let's just call it Quake. And the name and description are really for you, so whatever you want to call it is fine. And then command, we can go and search through our files, and go to file system, and you want user bin, and then you kind of scroll through here and look for Quake. Whoa. Right there. Click OK. Alright, so from this point on, every time I turn on my computer, Quake will automatically start up for me. While we're at it, got a Quake preferences. Let me start up Quake just so you can see this. So once it's been started up, see, Quake is now running. Press F12 to use it. And as you can see, it's there's the terminal there. It's transparent. Not something that I particularly like. I wouldn't say I don't like the transparency, but it's too transparent for me. So what I do, go down here to transparency. I always reduce that. You can see now it's somewhat. Go a little bit more. And you can do other stuff to the appearance. You give a background image, different color schemes and whatnot. Change the keyboard shortcuts for it. But for me, really the only thing is that transparency. So now, like I said, boom, hit F12, it comes down. F12 again, it goes up. So makes it very convenient for working with the terminal. Okay, so we got that going. Now, do any of you use online storage? A lot of people do. Probably the most common is Dropbox. And you can, right from either the Software Center or Synaptic, you can install Dropbox right through there. There are, like I said, there's other online storage services. Since Dropbox is the one I normally use, I'm not sure what other ones are available through the Software Center and whatnot, but you can install Dropbox right from here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just so I got my Dropbox set up. So we'll get Dropbox set up. And it actually goes pretty quick installing Dropbox. It's a fairly small program actually. And you will have after this gets done installing, you'll have a little pop-up box that'll come up and tell you that you need to go and sync with Dropbox. So usually it pops up. Oh, there it goes. Dropbox start requires start Dropbox finish installation. Click start Dropbox. Already have an account. And if you're not familiar with Dropbox, it'll give you, you sign up for the service, you get 5 gigabytes of free storage space, online storage space. For a price, you can have larger amounts. And Dropbox is by no means the only online storage out there. There are others. Anyway, after you get it all set up, it'll start syncing your files. Close that all up. It's Dropbox is done and ready to go. All right, well that about finishes things up for today. Um, Next video, we are going to start working with the panels. If you're wondering what the panels are, that's that bar that runs across the top of your display screen. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to move the indicators around, how to add other stuff to that taskbar, show you how to make a second, third, fourth, however many panels you want, how to make a quick launch bar. So that you have a dock-like bar where you can launch everything from. All kinds of stuff. Working with those panels so that you can set them up just the way that you want them. Just because um, that top panel is the way that Xubuntu set it up for you doesn't mean that that's what you got to stick with. So that's what we'll be working on next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. As always, please subscribe if you want to keep getting this great content. And thanks for watching. See you next time.